What's up everyone, I'm Frovlax and today I'm trying to Nuzlocke Pokémon SoulSilver using only the classic Team Rocket Pokémon from the anime. As per usual, the rules for this challenge are: play the game in set mode, no items in battle besides Eld items, no overleveling, if a Pokémon faints it needs to be boxed, and obviously I can only use Jessie and James Pokémon and of course Meowth. If you want, check the description for more detailed rules. Team Rocket has been a part of Pokémon from the very beginning, and to be honest, this trio is so lovable that sometimes we end up rooting for them. I choose to play Pokémon SoulSilver because I think it's the only game where I have a chance of getting a full team. This run was a suggestion from someone in the comments and I'm pretty excited for it. Now, let's see if we're going to win this challenge or blast off. So, prepare for trouble and make it double! It's time to grab our starter, that for obvious reasons is gonna be a Meowth, that we named Garfield. He has a lonely nature, which means more attack, and adding the ability Technician makes him pretty decent actually. We have to fight our rival now, but he only has Cyndaquil, so with a couple of scratches, we get our first victory. By the way, I forgot to name him, so we're gonna be battling hard from now on. Anyway, we go to Route 31 where we catch our second teammate, a Bellsprout with rash nature that we named Ivy. I guess we could use a special attacker. And now we can go and challenge the first gym leader, Faulkner, and he opens up with Pidgey that managed to survive the fake out from Garfield, but it just goes down on the next turn. Now we have to deal with Pidgeotto, and after realizing that I don't do much damage, I swap for Ivy that should be able to tank a Tackle and a Gust, but luckily it just uses Roost on the switch. We still have to take a Gust, but we managed to hit the Sleep Powder. Now we use Wrap for some extra damage and then swap back into Garfield, and with Fake Out and a couple of bites, we take him out. Luckily, he never woke up, so we got the first badge. And just outside the city, we can grab our next teammate, Hebihime, the Ekans with impish nature that luckily has Intimidate. This is gonna be a lifesaver for sure. On the way to the next city, we got summoned for a team meeting inside Slowpoke Well, and unfortunately, we had to maintain our cover, so we are forced to battle everyone there, including the executive Proton that starts with Zubat, but our Hebihime easily deals with him with just 2 bites. He then sends out a Coughing, but it doesn't do much besides spamming Smokescreen, so we just drop his defense with Leer, and then we send out Garfield that finishes him with a Fake Out. I really hope he doesn't tell Giovanni about this. Now it's time to go to the second gym and challenge Bugsy, and he starts with Scyther, which is actually scary, but Garfield flinches him with Fake Out. Now, I send out Hebihime to intimidate it, and luckily he uses Leer on the switch. I send Garfield back out and he uses Leer again. We go for Fake Out again, but he restores some HP thanks to a Citrus Berry. I swap back for Hebihime to drop his attack once more, while he goes for Focus Energy this time. Apparently, he doesn't know how to use those 2 sides and just goes for Leer again. But this time, we use Screech. Now, we go back to Meowth, while Cypher keeps using Leer. But this time, we do a lot more damage, and since I know we'll use a potion now, I intimidate it once more with Hebihime. And yes, I know this is boring because I'm just swapping around, but it's not exactly my fault Scyther doesn't attack. And I'm only using this strategy because I'm actually scared of this dude. The first time we got hit, he almost one-shots Hebihime with a quick attack crit, but luckily he didn't crit twice in a row and Garfield defeated him with Fake Out. And as you can imagine, the rest of his team was not an issue since it's just a Metapod and a Kakuna with weak attack moves. Now it's time for a rival battle, and it starts with Ghastly, but Garfield easily one-shots him with Bite. Next is Zubat, but it goes down with a couple of bites. Lastly is Kilava, and I had to swap a couple of times because he mainly spams Smokescreen, but we easily took him out. We've reached Goldenrod City, and I'm pretty sure I can't beat Whitney like this, so I went back to Violet City, and after trading some shards for berries with this guy, I think we're finally ready to go challenge Whitney. She opens up with Clefairy, and as per usual, we start with Garfield for that free damage with Fake Out. Unfortunately, we got infatuated, so we swap for Ivy and put it to sleep. And with a couple of Bullet Seeds, we bring her down. But now, we have to deal with the Miltank, and I immediately swap for Hebihime to drop his attack. And yes, I used the exact same strategy from the last gym, swapping between Garfield and Hebihime to do some cheap damage with Fake Out while also dropping its attack. I could only do this strategy thanks to the HP I got back from the berries, and once her attack is low enough, I just used Screech a couple of times, and with a headbutt, we defeated, getting the third badge from Whitney, the crybaby. On the way to the next city, our Ivy evolved into Weeping Bell, and now we can go to the Burn Tower and grab the next teammate, a Coughing, that we named Nook, with hasty nature, meaning more speed but less defense, which is not ideal, but I'll take it. It's time for the next rival battle, and we start with our Nook up front against Ghastly, that used Curse, but that means we take him out with assurance. Next is Magnemite, but we are forced to switch, so I send out Garfield, that gets paralyzed because of Thunder Wave. And everything was going well, until I got hit by Supersonic and decided to risk a little bit because he wasn't doing anything. But then he hits a Sonic Boom out of nowhere that left me at 2 HP, which means if Garfield hits himself, we lose him. But we got lucky and he hits the Magnemite for the KO. That was a close one. Quilava shows up now, so we send out a Behemoth that easily takes the quick attack. He lowers our accuracy with Smoke Screen and we use Headbutt that does almost nothing, so after taking a Hammer, we use Screech this time. And luckily, on the next turn, we hit a Headbutt crit that takes out Quilava. Lastly is Zubat, and we use Screech 2 times. Honestly, I don't know why I'm hitting this after the accuracy drops, but I'll take it. I send Nook back out now, but we have to tank 2 wing attacks before hitting the assurance that Zubat somehow managed to survive on 1 HP and hits us with Supersonic, so we are forced to swap for Ivy that comes finish the job with Bullet Seed. This guy was a bit more troublesome than I anticipated. While getting ready for the next battle, our Ebime evolved into Arbok, but before going into the next gym,
push the goddamn button! You heard what she said.
We are finally ready to go to the 4th gym and challenge Morty, and I'm not gonna lie, there was no strategy here. I simply used Crunch a bunch of times with Ebime. Gengar did hit a powerful Shadow Ball, but that's about it. Overall, this was a pretty easy gym badge to get. We go straight to Cianwood City now, where we challenge Chuck, the next gym leader. He opens up with Prime Up, but we lower his attack thanks to Intimidate. Now, we send out Nook, while he lowers our defense with Leer. He goes for Double Team next, but we do a bit of damage with Sludge. Now, he starts to spam Rock Slide, but it doesn't do much, so we end up bringing him to 1 HP, which is perfect, cause now he's gonna use a potion on him. And we can just bring him back to 1 HP. But now, I'm forced to swap, so I send out Garfield, that has to take a Rock Slide before finishing him with Fake Out. Shuck sends out Poliwrath now, and I have to swap because Garfield can't survive a hit from this thing, so I send a BMA back out to intimidate it, and now we can safely use Screech on him. I swap for Ivy this time that dodges the Hypnosis, but gets hit with Body Slam that paralyzes it. Luckily, we hit the Sleep Powder, so we just use Bullet Seed until we take him out, winning the 5th badge. Now, we have to go buy a secret potion from the most shady guy in the game, to help the Emperors that has been working in the lighthouse 24/7, so I'm guessing this is just drugs for him to deal with the job. It's time for another gym battle, and for some reason, the level cap for this gym is higher than the next one. Luckily, I realized that in time, otherwise I'd lose this challenge in the dumbest way possible. But anyway, we got challenge Jasmine that starts with Magnemite against our Ebime that learned Dig just for this battle. And since Sturdy isn't a thing yet, we easily one-shot both Magnemites. But now, we have to deal with Steelix, and I go for Screech. But after realizing he actually does some decent damage with Iron Tail, I send out Ivy to put him to sleep. I bring back a Behemoth to Screech again, but Steelix hits another powerful Iron Tail that left us on 12 HP, so I repeat the strategy and put him to sleep again. Then we use one last Screech with a Behemoth, and I'll be honest, I really thought that with -6 defense we would one-shot him, but to my surprise, we weren't even close. But luckily, Arceus was on our side and he missed the Iron Tail, so with one more dig, we finally beat Steelix and Jasmine, winning the 6th badge. Okay, it's time to do some upgrades to our team, and the easiest one right now is to play a bunch of minigames in the Pokéathlon and get enough points to buy a Leaf Stone. I said the easiest way, but it takes a bunch of time to do this, but at least now we can evolve our Ivy into a Victory Bell. We have to go to the next Team Rocket meeting now, but once I arrived, I realized Giovanni wasn't there. It was just stupid Petrol cosplaying him, so I challenged him. But he's so weak and underleveled that this wasn't a battle, it was just me putting him in his place. You better not pretend to be the boss again, dude. On the way out, we have a double battle against Ariana, but I have Lance by my side with a Dragonite level 40, so you can guess how this battle goes. I don't remember the power scaling in this game being so bad. Anyway, we go to Mahogany Town and challenge Price, the 7th gym leader, with a lower level ace than the previous one. He opens up with Seal against our Ivy, so we just put him to sleep and with 2 bullet seeds we take him out. Next is the ace, Piloswine, but again we put him to sleep and one-shot it with a solar beam. The last Pokemon is Dugo, and you guessed it, we also put it to sleep, but this one no sleep talk, which actually put us in danger after hitting a powerful Aurora Beam. Fortunately, we just one-shot it on the next turn with Solar Beam. Well, I know these last few gyms haven't been much of a challenge, but it's not exactly my fault. It's time to go back to Team Rocket now, and we start by challenge Petrol again, because he didn't learn his lesson last time, but this time he actually upgraded his team. Well, I say upgrade, but he actually just has a bunch of nukes ready to blow at any point. The real issue here was Weezing, that just kept spamming smokescreen on everyone until our very own nuke hits a massive fire blast that burns him, so we just have to stall until he goes down. Since he didn't use self-destruct on any of these Pokemon, we actually deal with him pretty easily. We have to go to the hideout now, where our rival shows up, and I don't want him to mess with Team Rocket, so we battle. He starts with Golbat against Nuke, that avoids the air cutter and hits the fire blast that does very little damage. We go for Assurance now after tanking the air cutter, but neither of us does much damage, so I send out Garfield that gets it with Confuse Ray, but still managed to use Fake Out. But I completely forgot about Inner Focus and I got crit with a hair cutter, so I have to swap again. This time I send out a Behemoth that easily tanks the hair cutter and finishes him with Strength. He sends out Hunter now, which is perfect, because we one-shot it with Crunch. Next is Kilava, that managed to survive a dig on red health and hits a Flame Wheel, but we just finish him with Crunch. Magnemite is out now, but it's an easy one-shot with Dig. Lastly is Sneasel, but he doesn't do much damage to us, so with a few strengths we take him out, defeating our rival and protecting Team Rocket from him. While we're hanging out with our Rocket mates, Nuke evolved into Weezing. We also got the information that the boss is in the radio tower, so we go there and try to talk him once and for all, but we got blocked by the executives. The first one is Proton, that starts with Golbat that tickles our Nuke while we do some damage with Assurance. He then goes for Confuse Ray, and we hit ourselves a couple times before finishing him with a couple more Assurance. But by the time Weezing shows up, I'm super low, so I send out Garfield that takes a Sludge and gets poisoned, but still hits a Fake Out before being swapped for a Behemoth that easily tanks his attacks and use Screech twice before taking out this useless executive. The next one standing in the way is Ariana, that starts with Arbok that intimidates our Nuke, but he just doesn't care, taking the Crunch like a champ and hitting a massive Fire Blast that also burns her. And with an Assurance crit, we take down the Arbok. The next one is Murkrow, but I send out Garfield that is immune to the Nightshade and does some good damage with Fake Out. Then we go for Slash to take him out. Lastly is Vileplume, but our Garfield just slashed him down without any issues. You guys are an embarrassment to Team Rocket. Apparently the boss isn't here, it's just Archie, and I said I didn't report to him and he got mad and attacked us, sending out his Andour that goes down with 2 Sludges, but not before burning Nuke with Fire Fang. Next is Houndoom, so I send out a Behemoth that has to take 2 Fire Fangs before hitting a powerful dig and recovering a bit thanks to Shell Bell. We got it again with a strong Fire Fang, but with one last dig, we took care of the Houndoom. His last Pokemon is just a Koffing, so after a couple of Screech and 2 Strengths, we take him out, defeating the last executive of Team Rocket. Well, I guess I have to look for Giovanni in Kanto. We finally reach Route 44, where we can grab our next teammate, a Lickitung with quiet nature that we named Slurp. More special attack and less speed is okay, since he's pretty slow anyways. After arriving to Blackthorn City, we can go to the Dark Cave from the top, where we can catch our last teammate, a Wobbuffet that's gonna be our punch bag, with Lax Nature which increases defense but it drops the special defense, which is not ideal but we'll manage. Now, with our full team, I spent a bunch of hours gambling. For real, I have no idea how long this took, but we can access a bunch of good moves in the casino, starting with the Ice Beam TM, so I had to do it. After all of that, we are ready to go to the 8th and last gym and challenge Claire that opens up with Gyarados against a Behemoth, so we basically intimidate each other. And I'll be honest, I expected to do much more with Thunderfang, but we only do half and we have to tank a Dragon Rage. But one last Thunderfang takes out Gyarados. Next is Dragonair, and I swap for Garfield that gets paralyzed. We flinch him with Fake Out, but then we take massive damage from Dragon Pulse before hitting a Slash, but we are forced to swap now, so I bring back a Behemoth that takes a Aqua Tail before finishing it with Ice Fang. Claire sends out her Kingdra next, so I swap for our secret weapon, Punch Bag, that loses a chunk of HP from Dragon Pulse, and on the next turn, he survived the Hydro Pump on red health and uses Mirror Coat to obliterate Kingdra. This guy is a beast. Lastly is the second Dragonair, that uses Thunder Wave on the first turn, so we did nothing. But on the next turn, our boy takes the Dragon Pulse like a champ and leaves Dragonair on a sliver. I know she'll use a potion now, so I safely swap for Slurp, but after getting hit with Thunder Wave, we got paralyzed on the first turn. Now, we have to tank a Dragon Pulse, but since we do a bunch of damage with Ice Beam, all we have to do is to tank another Dragon Pulse and hit it with a last Ice Beam for the KO, defeating Claire. Finally, a last gym leader worthy of that title. After getting all the badges, it's time for one of the trickiest battles of this run, the Kimono Girls. They aren't exactly strong, but not being able to heal or changing Pokemon up front after each battle is definitely a problem. The first one is Umbreon, and our best choice is Garfield that gets free damage from Fake Out. We go for Slash next to do some cheap damage while he uses Confuse Ray. Now we swap for Nuke, that takes some damage from Dark Pulse. He then goes for Confuse Ray, but we're holding a Lumberry, so we snap out and hit him with Poison Gas. We keep tanking Dark Pulses while doing some damage with Sludge, and eventually he died to Poison. But Nuke is unusable for the next fights. The next Kimono Girl uses Espion, and this is by far the worst one for us. We fake him out and immediately swap for Punch Bag, the only one that can take him, and after losing half of our HP to a couple of Psychics, we're able to do enough damage with Mirror Coat to take him out. Now we have to deal with Flareon, and you know the trick, Fake Out into a swap for a Behemoth that takes massive damage from Fire Blast, but manages to one-shot it with Dig. Only 2 more Kimono Girls left, but my team is getting pretty low. The next one is Jolteon, and we swap for Punch Bag after the Fake Out that takes a bunch of damage from Thunderbolt, but thanks to a Citrus Berry, recovers just enough HP to survive the next one on a Sliver and finishes Jolteon with Mirror Coat. Lastly is Vaporeon, and this thing it's pretty hard, so I only have one choice here. Swap into Ivy and tank the Surf, and pray to Arceus that I hit the Sleep Powder before getting hit with Aurora Beam. Luckily, we didn't miss, and he didn't wake up on the first turn, so we took him out with a Solar Beam. This battle actually made me sweat a little. Now, we head into the Deep Sea Cave and summon Lugia, only to defeat it right away. It's time to cross the victory road, where we have the last rival battle. It starts with Sneasel against our Slurp. We take a bit of damage from Fate Attack, and we go for Fire Blast that I really thought it would KO, but he survived on 1 HP, forcing us to take another Fate Attack before finishing him with Strength. Next is Golbat, but since he doesn't do much damage with Air Cutter, we just tank it, and with a couple of Ice Beams, we take care of it. He sends out Magneton now, so I immediately swap for a Behemoth that got paralyzed by Thunder Wave, but we still managed to hit the Dig for the one shot. His next Pokemon is Kadabra, so I send out Punch Bag, and I have to stall a couple of turns with Safeguard and Counter until he uses Disable. Only after that we can safely use Mirror Coat until he goes down. He sends out Hunter now, so I have to swap for Garfield, while he uses Curse, losing half of its HP, which means we can take him out with a Bite now. His last Pokemon is a Typhlosion, and I send Punch Bag back out, and after getting hit with Swift, we recover some HP with a Berry. Now, I have to gamble on what move he's gonna use. I choose Mirror Coat, and luckily he hits us with Lava Plume, and that means we'll be able to take him out, winning the last rival battle. We arrive at the Pokemon League, and after doing the final changes to our team, we are ready to face the Elite Four. The first one is Will, and it's Psychic types, which is already a bad start for us. It starts with Xatu against our Garfield. We go for the Fake Out Flinch, followed by a Shadow Claw. He used Confuse Ray, but we recover thanks to a Lumberry. He's gonna full restore now, so I just keep using Shadow Claw until he hits a powerful Psychic that almost one-shots us, but since we are faster, we take him out with one last Shadow Claw. Will sends out Jinx, so I just U-turn out, doing a bunch of damage in the process. Slurp comes out but takes a powerful Psychic as well. We got hit by Lovely Kiss next, but again, a Lumberry saved us, allowing us to hit a powerful Shadow Ball. And I was expecting another full restore here, but Jinx goes for Psychic, so we take her out with Shadow Ball. Now we have to face Executor, so I send out Punchbag and we use Safeguard first to stop all the status conditions he uses. We then just spam counter on the Egg Bomb until he goes down. It's time to deal with the second Zato, and I didn't realize the Safeguard ended, so we got confused right away. But my best option right now is to keep trying, and after getting hit by Ominous Wind, our boy snapped out and hit the Miracle to one-shot Zato. Lastly is Slowbro, but it doesn't have anything crazy, so we go for another Miracle to do half of its HP. But now we have to swap for Ivy that tanks the Water Pulse and finishes him with Razor Leaf, giving us the win against the first member of the Elite Four. The second member is the Ninja Koga and his Bug and Poison types. It starts with Ariados against Abihime. And after using Earthquake and realizing I don't do much damage, I start spamming Ice Fang, and since he's doing very little damage with Poison Jab and I recover a bit thanks to Shell Bell, I just keep this up until he goes down. Venomoth is out now, and after a lucky freeze from Ice Fang, we just took him out with 2 Earthquakes. Now we have to face Fortress, and I try using Earthquake to see how much we do, but yeah, that's not gonna happen, so I send out Nuke while he goes for Toxic Spikes, and with a Flamethrower we KO it. Koga sends out Crobat now, but luckily for us, our girl has Thunderbolt, so we just have to wait until we hit 3 of those to take him out. Lastly is Muk, and I sent out a Abihime that could have easily dealt with him, but he spammed so many minimizes that I ran out of PP on Earthquake. Luckily, he was out of attacking moves, so this took a while, but eventually we took him out with Garfield. Well, that was a weird battle, but this means we finished half of the Elite Four. The third member of the Elite Four is Bruno, that starts with Hitmontop, but Garfield just fakes out as usual, and then hits a U-turn crit into Abihime that gets hit with a counter. But I won't take that bait, so I screech once to make sure I KO him with Earthquake, because I'm not about to lose a Pokemon to counter right now. His next Pokemon is Onix, so I swap for Ivy that tanks the Earthquake and one-shots it with Razor Leaf. Hitmonlee is next, and I send Abihime back out to intimidate it, but we still take a lot of damage from Blaze Kick. We then use Screech, while he goes for Focus Energy, but we can just one-shot it with Earthquake now. Bruno sends out Hitmonchan, so I do the same thing, Screech followed by Earthquake, but he managed to survive on a Sliver, leaving us on low health with Fire Punch. He used the full restore, but it doesn't matter since we are faster and we can take him out with 2 Earthquakes. Lastly, we have to deal with a terrifying Machamp, and I only have one choice here, send out Punchback to tank his hits while doing some damage with counter. But between Rock Slide flinches and Hyper Potions, I can't risk Punchback anymore. You did a great job, but it's time for Nuke to come out and finish the job with Flamethrower, giving us the win against Bruno. There's only one more member of the Elite Four, and it's a Karen, that starts with Umbreon that Garfield deals the only way he can, using Fake Out. Then we slash, but we got hit by Confuse Ray. We try using U-turn and it worked, so we bring out Ivy while he used Double Team. We miss the first Leaf Blade and Umbreon hits us with Faint Attack, but on the next turn we take him out. We have to face the Murkrow next, which is not ideal because he hits hard with Plug, so we put him to sleep, and after that a couple of Leaf Blades took him out. Karen sends out the Undoom now, and I have to send Garfield back out because I need a clean switch if I have a chance of beating this thing, but we actually managed to survive the Dark Pulse on 7 HP, allowing us to do some damage with Fake Out. Garfield, you were great, you can rest now. It's time to bring out Abihime that tanks the Flamethrower and finish his Undoom with Earthquake. I'm actually not sure if I'd be able to take him out without that bit of damage from Fake Out. We have to face Gengar now, and I send out Punchback to take care of him with Mirror Coat because I don't want to get wrecked by Destiny Bond. Lastly is Vileplume, that actually does some decent damage with Petal Dance while we use Safeguard, and as I was expecting to one-shot him after another powerful Petal Dance, I realized I've messed up and confused Petal Dance with Petal Blizzard, so I need to swap, and I send out Slurp, that managed to survive a crit on just 12 HP before hitting a powerful Ice Beam. But I have to swap again, and this time I send out Nuke to finish the job with Flamethrower, defeating Karen, the last member of the Elite Four. It's finally time to challenge Lance for the title of the champion. Only he stands in the way of Team Rocket conquering Johto. He starts the battle with Gyarados against our Nuke, and we immediately got hit by a waterfall that flinched us. With a second waterfall, we activate our berry, recovering a bit of HP, but this time we hit a massive Thunderbolt, almost bringing Gyarados down. Lance uses a full restore now, but our Nuke didn't come to play, and hits an even more powerful Thunderbolt that finishes the job. But the first Dragonite shows up, so I send out Slurp that dodges the first Dragon Rush and tanks another one before slaying the Dragonite with Ice Beam. But Lance just sends out another one, and this one is even stronger. So I send out Punch Bag, the only one that can tank Outrage, but barely. The second one brought us to just 4 HP before activating our berry, but this means our counter is insanely powerful, taking out Lance's ace. But we are not out of the woods yet. A Aerodactyl is the next Pokemon, so I sent out a Behemoth to intimidate it, but we got hit by a Rock Slide crit that brought us to just 25 HP. I swapped for Ivy this time, that easily tanks the Thunder Fang, but the Aerial Ace is a different story, and does a lot of damage, but we also do a lot with Leaf Blade. Lance is going for another full restore here, so I put him to sleep, and on the next turn, we go for Leaf Blade and leave him on red health, and as I was going for the finishing blow, he sends out Charizard. I did not expect that. I can't swap anyone here, so I end up having to sacrifice Ivy. I send Nuke back out that tanks the Shadow Claw and hits a massive Thunderbolt crit that deletes the Charizard. The last Dragonite shows up, and I can't safely swap to anyone, so I go for Sludge Bomb a couple of times and I get him poisoned. And since I know he'll go for full restore, I send out Slurp that survived the Dragon Rush on just 2 HP and finishes him with Ice Beam. Now, only the sleepy Aerodactyl stands in the way, and as I was ready to finish him with a Surf, Lance used another full restore. I had no idea he used more than 3. He takes out Slurp with a Aerial Ace, and I realized I'm doomed. He is faster than everyone on my team, and all of my Pokemon are on low health. This is going to be a slaughter. I send out a Behemoth that goes out to Rock Slide. Nuke goes down to a Crunch. And last but not least, our Punch Bag, against all odds, survived the Crunch on 9 HP and countered for the victory against Lance and this challenge. This was insane. I really thought I had lost the challenge right there, but we did it. We became the Johto champion. To be fair, the whole challenge was supposed to go until we beat Red, but well, I'll take the victory against Lance. Well, I had a lot of fun doing this run. My goal on this channel at the moment is to get 500 subscribers before the end of the year, which I guess is hard with how much I upload, but well, a guy can dream, right? Anyway, I just wanna say that I love how much support and positivity you guys have been giving me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, comment and share it with a friend. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!